Thank you guys so much for being here. I know this year we have a really great mixture of returning and new walk leaders, so it's very exciting to see some new and familiar faces in the room. And this training tonight is an opportunity for you to learn a bit more about what leading a walk is like, whether you have led a Jane's Walk before, or maybe you've led a walking tour with a different organization before, or maybe you haven't led a walk at all before. So this will be informative, and then at the end of my presentation that I'll give, we're also going to be doing just some time for Q&A, where you can unmute and ask a question, or you can use the chat to ask questions, and I'll be available to answer any questions you might have. So I'm going to start recording real quick, and then I'm going to share a presentation. Okay, great. Okay, looks like we're already recording. Perfect, cool. All right. Okay, can everyone see this okay? Feel free to give me a thumbs up. Okay, great, cool. Okay. All right, so once again, I'm Genevieve Wagner. I am the Public Programs Manager at the Municipal Art Society of New York, and I work in tandem with my coworker, Jen Delorier, who's our Director of Public Programs, to plan the annual Jane's Walk Festival. You might have gotten emails from either of us over the past few months. Our names are both Genevieve, which is kind of crazy, but I go by Genevieve, and Jen, our director, goes by Jen. So yeah, just wanted to clear that up. And I bet most of you guys know about Jane's Walk or about MAS, but I'm just going to give you a quick little intro. So MAS started in 1893. We have been around since then, advocating for a more livable city. We helped with advocating for the construction of subways real back in the day. We helped create the landmarks law. We've also helped save famous buildings, including Radio City Music Hall. And we do all of this through research and giving testimony, education, and programming. And I feel that Jane's Walk is a really great culmination of all of the work that we do and the spirit of our organization. Because the festival is all about hearing from the community about what they love, about their neighborhoods, and about also what they want to see change, and what they want to see continue in the future. So Jane's Walk actually started in Toronto in 2006. And it is named after Jane Jacobs, who was a writer and an urbanist who worked in New York City for most of her career before moving to Toronto. Her most popular, most famous book, which is very highly influential, is The Death and Life of Great American Cities. And famously, she helped gather her community members to advocate for the Lower Manhattan Expressway to not be built. Robert Moses wanted to build this. So she's known as the lady who went up against Robert Moses in the fight to not have that highway constructed, and she was successful, obviously. So when she passed away in 2006, her friends, who were great admirers of her work and her spirit, they established Jane's Walk. So this festival happens in over 200 cities across the globe. We started doing the festival in 2011, and it's a really exciting time because simultaneously around the globe, there's so many cities that are all walking together this first weekend in May. Some cities just do it for one day, some cities do a whole week of programming. But if you want to learn more about the different cities that lead Jane's Walks, you can go to the global Jane's Walk website, which is just Jane's Walk, or you can go on social media and look at the Jane's Walk Instagram. We differentiate ours by Jane's Walk NYC. But it's this really awesome festival, and there's a really great group of volunteer coordinators that help with kind of facilitating all of the festivals, and we're really happy to have the largest festival in the world in New York City. So thank you for being a part of that. Also, if any questions pop up throughout, you can feel free to put them in the chat, but otherwise we'll have time at the end to talk. So you guys have done a lot of the, the really important stuff, which was submitting your walk, coming up with your idea, choosing, the starting location, all of this stuff. But obviously between now and the first weekend in May, there's some time for actually planning your walk. You might have already planned all of the stops in your walk, but maybe you haven't yet. Maybe you've kind of half planned it, but you're still ironing out some details. Either way, it's all good. I'm going to kind of go through just some things to keep in mind. Some of you might be like, this is old hat, but it's good to remember these things. So a recommendation that we often have, I mean, the average length for a walk and for Jane's walk usually is between 60 and 90 minutes. Of course, when you fill out your submission form, you can choose 30 minutes, you can choose 2 hours. And we find that 60 to 90 is an average amount of time, but if it's 2 hours, if your walk is that long, if you selected 2 hours, that's okay. And also if you go over a little bit, if you chose 90 minutes, but you go over a little bit, that's okay. We find that people know this festival is free. Maybe they're stacking their day and they have a lot of events they're going to, the attendees. So if someone leaves your walk a little bit early, don't worry about it. They're probably maybe have another Jane's walk to go on. But another thing I wanted to remind people is that for selecting the stops for your walk, maybe you've already selected all of the stops, and maybe it's more than 5 to 7, which is okay. But we do include that number as kind of like an average amount of stops because we do like to kind of emphasize that the quality of your locations is more important than getting in so many stops during your 90 minutes or however long your walk is. And when you're at each of your stops, we recommend that you take some time to be talking about the location rather than talking a bunch as you're walking. And if you have more than 5 to 7 stops, that's totally okay. But we recommend that you definitely map your walk out either on Google Maps or a hand-drawn map, and practice it at least once before the festival so that you get a feel for actually how many stops you can fit into the allotted time. And maybe you've already done this. A lot of y'all are pros and you're really great at mapping it out. But we recommend that you do so and that you practice it. Practicing your walk could be you going on the walk and kind of talking to yourself and kind of going through what you're going to say on your own. Maybe you invite a friend to go on the walk with you as practice and you sort of tell them the things you're going to be telling people during the festival. Or maybe you're just walking from point A to point B, so you know the route, down pat. But it's really good to know where you're going and to have an idea for how long you'll be at each of your locations. Because yeah, the festival is free, but we do want to be aware of people's time and make sure that we're keeping our walk within the allotted time that we chose. Just some other things. Obviously, you've chosen a precise location for starting your walk, and all of the attendees will be getting this meeting location whenever they sign up. They'll get the meeting location, and then they'll get a reminder email that goes out 48 hours before your walk that will also remind them of this meeting location. We really ask that you know where your walk begins and that you go there. So look in the confirmation email you received. Maybe we've had some correspondence recently updating your meeting location. So whatever is the case, make sure that you go to the place that you submitted or that you updated your meeting location as. Otherwise, attendees won't be able to find you. So please make sure that you remember where the group should be meeting, okay? And then just some other things to keep in mind. As you're leading your walk, maybe, you are a little bit worried about public speaking, a little bit worried about how you're going to be crafting a story while leading your walk. But I always like to say that it's likely that the walk you'll be leading will be about something you're passionate about, and attendees can really tell when you're passionate. So try to lean into that and focus on that, and focus on telling a story. And this is less of like a walking lecture, and it's more so a time for storytelling throughout the walk too. If you want people to be able to ask questions or jump in, you can make a note at the top of your walk saying, I would love to have anyone, ask questions. Or if you'd prefer for questions to be held to the end, you can also say that. But it is a walking conversation. So if you were worried about like giving a bunch of facts and giving so much information and so many dates, worry a little bit less about that and worry more so about, what's the story you're telling and how are you crafting that narrative. And let's see, a few other things. In your submission form, you were able to choose a co-leader if you wanted to have a co-leader. And maybe you didn't submit to have a co-leader, someone there with you. We recommend that if you're maybe a first-time walk leader or you're a little bit worried about controlling the group and keeping everything together, that it's good to have a friend, or a buddy attend the walk with you. And maybe your walk is sold out, you have 30 people to wrangle. It can be helpful to have another person. Maybe that's like your caboose at the back of the group, or someone to help keep a head count. We have some staff members from MAS and then also some fellow Janes Walk leaders who have volunteered their time to be a volunteer co-leader. So if you noted that you wanted support in that way in your submission form, we'll be in touch and we'll assign someone to you. But if you're hearing me talk right now about this and you're like, wait, I actually would love to have someone there to support me, just email the Janes Walk email and we can assign someone to you. All right. A few other things about research. Maybe you've done all your research already, or maybe you want to continue doing your research. Just a few resources to highlight. These are some libraries and archives, some of which you might have heard of, just the NYPL, QPL, BPL, and then some other more niche archives that either have online collections or are available to be visited. So maybe you want to take a photo of this if it's a resource that would be interesting to you. I'll also send a copy of this presentation after the event. But these are great resources for doing research on your walk, planning what you're going to say, having facts to share. These are also great resources if you want to source photographs and share images during your walk, or share audio or any archival material. If that's the case, if that sounds interesting to you, or if you were planning to show images, these are great libraries and archives. And then I also highlight the Library of Congress and Wikimedia Commons. Wikimedia Commons is the photograph section of Wikipedia, and these are mainly all open source images that you can use for purposes like education and like leading a walk. So if you're interested in having photographs, you can use these resources. We do recommend that you have a source either next to the image you're showing, or that you're able to attribute whoever you got this photograph from, just because it's good to give credit to the libraries and archives that have collected all this information. And it's not a requirement to show photographs during a walk, but it maybe makes sense for your walk if it feels very visual, or if you're leading a virtual walk. For how to show photographs, they could just be printed photographs that are laminated or unlaminated. One thing though we recommend is, rather than having a bunch of pieces of paper, having them in a binder or somewhere that has like a hard surface is helpful, especially if it's like windy or if it rains at all. It's good to have your photographs in a binder, so they're not like flapping in the wind. An iPad can also be a good way to show photographs. If it is really sunny, it can be hard to see, but you can really use your discretion, whatever feels best for you. And two things I want to note. We also, one of our organizational partners this year, along with the NYPL, is also BPL's new Library for Arts and Culture, which is over by BAM. And you can go to this library. They have a lot of collections that are focused on arts and culture. So it's a really great resource to use. And I think they're on the 5th floor of this building by BAM. And MAS also has a library and archive. Our usual library that's usually open for visiting at our office is temporarily not accessible because we just moved offices. But we have a virtual catalog and we have an amazing librarian who is super helpful with sourcing materials or sourcing anything from the MAS archives from our organization. So you can email Erin, our librarian, or you can give her a call. Her information is on the screen right now. She's a really fantastic resource as well. Okay, a few more day of logistics and tips, and then I'm going to wrap this up in a little bit. Just some things for you to know as a volunteer. So you've seen our schedule for the festival, which came out on Friday. Just a note, if you haven't looked at your walk yet, we recommend that you take a look, make sure the information looks correct. Also, make sure you look at your confirmation email to make sure that the meeting location that you inputted is correct. There are over like 250 individual event pages on the schedule this year because we have over 200 walks, many of which have multiple occurrences. So there's a lot on that schedule, but you can use the search bar or you can use Control F to look for your walk. If you're having trouble finding it, let us know. I know a couple walks were in our drafts and were published a little bit later. Apologies for that. Also, if you happen to have submitted a walk a little bit late, it might still be being added. But just email us if you have any questions about that. But once someone signs up for your walk on our website, all of our walks are free. They will receive a confirmation email. The confirmation email will have the address for the meeting location. It will also have your phone number if you consented to us sharing your phone number with walk leaders, which was a little box you could check in the submission form. And then they will also receive a reminder of this information leading up to the festival 48 hours before the walk. This reminder email will also have a little note about how the festival is rain or shine. And if attendees have any issues with their registration, if they want to cancel their registration, they will email us and they will email the events@mas.org email. Occasionally people will, if you consented to have your phone number being shared, people might text you or call you and cancel their walk. That doesn't happen that often. Hopefully that won't happen. If it does, you just let us know and we'll communicate with them. But they'll get all the information that they need through us. And just sorry, one more note, but the meeting location, make sure you know where you're meeting day of, otherwise folks can't find you. Like I said, feel free to bring any materials with you. We will also be sharing some materials with you guys that you can share with attendees, including these stickers that say "I walked today" on them. We have a few different designs. These are kind of our retro ones, and then we have these new ones. So we will be sending out packets to all of the volunteers that will include 30 stickers for your attendees, and that you will also get a t-shirt, which is down in the corner over here. Those will be in the mail this week, so we recommend that you wear your t-shirt, you have your stickers, and you will also be getting a Jane's Walk fan, which is a church fan, this yellow fan. And we ask that you bring at least the fan with you. If you don't want to wear the shirt, that's okay. But the fan really helps people find you. Even if you're standing on a very public, easily accessible corner, it can be really helpful to have this bright yellow fan that you're holding onto or that your co-leader is holding onto so that the group can find you. It's also really helpful throughout the walk to have this fan in hand so that if anyone's like maybe getting distracted, they can like easily find you because you're holding this bright yellow fan. I don't have one with me right now, but you'll get one in the mail. We also recommend that you arrive at your meeting location early. I know we live in New York, transportation is always, unpredictable, but please make sure you arrive early. 30 minutes is recommended because sometimes Jane's Walk attendees arrive really early, and it's good to be able to greet people. So try to arrive 30 minutes early. If for some reason you're running late or you think you might get there, not on time, you can let us know. We appreciate that if you're running late that you let us know so that we can be in communication with attendees. Please try to not be late, but if you are running late, you can email us or you can also call us. I'm going to have the email and the phone number on the next screen. So if you're running late or if something happens, there's an emergency, just let us know and then we can communicate with walk goers. If for some reason you have to cancel your walk because of a family issue, a personal issue, also just let us know and then we will communicate with the walk goers. So just make sure you're staying in communication with us. And make sure you remember the meeting location and also what time your walk is at. Maybe you're leading your walk 3 times, and I get that's kind of hard to keep it all in order, but make sure you remember where you're meeting and what time your walk is at. And then if attendees are running late, like I said, if they have your phone number, they will be contacting you. So make sure you don't have your phone on silent if you might be getting any phone calls or texts from attendees. And we recommend that you wait maybe like 5 minutes, but then starting the walk after 5 minutes is okay. We don't want you, waiting too long. But we also find that maybe if you have an intro to do, you might be at your starting location for 10 minutes in total, so hopefully any late arrivals will be able to easily find you. So waiting 5 minutes it is good, but if they're running late, they'll either call you or text you, or if you didn't ask to have your phone number shared, they will email us, and then we might contact you, but only MAS would contact you. So if someone's running late, that's kind of how that works. And then this probably, makes a lot of sense to y'all, especially if you've given a walk or a tour before. But we recommend that you, greet people when they're arriving, maybe encourage conversation, ask everyone where they're coming from. You can ask people if they know about your topic, or maybe it's something they want to learn more about. The festival is all about building community and like finding people who have similar interests to you. So it's really great to kick off the walk, or as people are gathering, start conversation about your walk. And when you are starting the actual walk, we have this little card that'll come in your walk leader packet that will have instructions about just some day of tips and a lot of things that I'm talking about now. So I'll have 10 tips that were actually written by our director of tours, Ted. So one side will have 10 tips about tour guiding, and then the other half will have an example script that you can use if you would like. It has a quick line about MAS, a quick little line about Jane's Walk, and it can just be helpful to kind of explain what MAS is and explain what Jane's Walk is in case someone doesn't know. Maybe their friend brought them along and they don't really know what Jane's Walk is. It's always good to get a little bit of context before kicking off your walk. And then a couple other things, make sure you take a head count at the beginning of your walk. We really want to make sure that you're aware of who is there. We don't have you take attendance, but we do appreciate if you take a head count and have a number of people that were there at the beginning of your walk. That way, throughout the walk, you can easily count and make sure everyone is there. So please take a head count. Also, speak up and stay visible. Be aware that everyone walks at a different pace, and if you're walking super fast, some people might have trouble keeping up with you and finding you. So make sure you stay visible, and do keep in mind that everyone does walk different, at different paces. So maybe don't speed super quickly if people in your group are falling behind. So make sure you're staying visible, and also speak up if you're, a soft speaker. I know this can be hard, but try to speak up. Also, don't be afraid to have people, like, you can at the top of your walk, if you want to check and make sure everyone can hear you, you can easily just be like, can everyone hear me? Or throughout the walk, if you can't hear me, just raise your hand. Making a quick announcement like that can be great so people feel comfortable letting you know if they can't hear you. But don't be afraid to speak up. This is especially true if during the walk you're by heavy traffic or by a river or any space that might have noise. So good to remember to speak up, and it's likely that you won't be yelling or being too loud. So I always say try to talk louder than you think you might need to. And then one other thing that's kind of a classic tour guide thing is avoid the walk and talk, which means avoid giving a lot of explanation and a lot of information while you're walking. Because first of all, if you're walking, your back is likely turned to many people, and it's hard to hear someone when their back is turned to you. Also, if your group has a lot of people and there's some people in the back, they won't be able to hear you if you're walking and talking. So you don't want people to miss anything you're saying. So if you have important things to share, it's great to go to the side of the road, have everyone gather, and then speak rather than speaking while you're walking. So keep that in mind. And then a couple other things, like I said, the Jane's Walk team is available to be in communication with you if you need anything, if you're running late, if you need to cancel your walk. So that's the email, and then that's also the phone number. When you call that phone number, it'll give you a few options for extensions, and you'll press the one that says events and Jane's Walk. So when you call that number, click on the events and Jane's Walk extension. Another thing, the festival is rain or shine. We've had some really rainy Jane's Walks. My first Jane's Walk in 2022, it rained most of the festival. Sunday was kind of beautiful and sunny, but it was really rainy. But people show up. New Yorkers are, tenacious, and it will get out in the rain. If it's rainy and you want to maybe pivot, maybe a lot of your walk is outdoors, you can always cut it short and take the group inside. I think a lot of people start their walk or end their walk at a cafe, which is super smart. So if it gets too rainy and you want to cut it short, you can always end it, at a cafe, so you can continue conversation there. But the festival is rain or shine. People are reminded to dress for the weather and bring an umbrella in their reminder email. So people will show up. We will only cancel a walk if you feel like this would be dangerous to bring people to a space, especially if your walk is happening like along the Hudson or the East River. We can cancel your walk if you're worried about safety. But otherwise, the festival is rain or shine, and people have always showed up in the past. So a note about that. Like I also mentioned, we can assign someone to be a volunteer supporter for you if you want to have someone help you keep a head count, keep the group together. Just email us and we can have that set up for you. And a few last things. We will, in our email to you guys, I think we sent some information about how you can spread the word about Jane's Walk. We'll also send a reminder of that. We've posted about Jane's Walk on LinkedIn and Instagram. I need to post on Facebook as well, but you can reshare all of those posts online if you would want to spread the word about your walk and the festival. And we also encourage you to spread the word at local coffee shops or libraries or community centers. We're going to send you a couple of these flyers, which are a double-sided flyer that has information about the festival. You'll get these in your packet so you can spread the word in your community. And we will also be doing a lot of print marketing. We do print marketing, and we also do marketing via email and social media. And during the festival, we also ask that you, take your head count and take a photograph of your group or take some photos while you're walking, and then you email us the head count and a photo. It's just helpful for us to, see what all the walks are like, since we can't get to all 200 plus of them. So we recommend that you send us that email maybe right after your walk, send a photo and send your head count. And the head count also helps us get an idea for the full attendance at the festival. One note about photographs: attendees of any MAS event or tour, photographs might be taken at those, and we're allowed to take photographs. But if you do want to ask people about, their consent about taking photographs, you can definitely make a little note at the top of your walk and be like, I might take some photographs today. If you don't want to be photographed, let me know. And if someone doesn't want to be in your photos, they will, let you know. Otherwise, you don't have to get a waiver or anything else in particular for photos. But otherwise, like I said, this festival is all about community and conversation and having fun. So if you're feeling a little bit nervous, just remember to lean into what makes you really passionate about this topic that you're leading your walk on. And I promise you that that passion and excitement will translate into a really great walk. So that's it, my presentation. Oh, two other notes. These are other ways of getting training and information about the festival. I'll link both of these in an email that I send to you guys. But if you want all this information and more, you can go to our website and you can read our walk leader guide in the PDF version. There's also an FAQ document on our website you can check out. But otherwise, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and answer some questions. I see that we have a hand being raised by Pamela. Feel free to raise your hand if you want to ask any questions.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Genevieve. Yeah, I just had a question. You might have gone over this, but will our group know how many attendees have registered, or do we just reach out to you directly, like closer to the event?
Yeah, great question. Thank you so much. So we will be sending you a registrant count closer to the festival. So we'll send you the number of people who have signed up for your walk. Yeah. We cap walks at 30 people unless you told us to, cap it at less people, which is totally cool. If your walk sells out, we'll also let you know that it has sold out. But otherwise, you'll expect an email from us before the festival with a count. We often will send 2 of those emails too, just so we can have that be as updated as possible. But thanks.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Rosalind.
Hello.
Hi.
Sorry for the background noise. I'm walking right now.
All good.
But I wanted to ask, so I have a book that's associated with some of the content in my walk. Is it okay? I don't want to violate the rules in terms of marketing things. Is it okay to talk about the book? Is it okay to bring copies of the book? What's kind of the rules for that?
Yeah, that's okay. We've had that in the past where someone's written a book and they've brought copies. I'm totally okay with you bringing copies.
Okay. It's okay, at the end of the walk, if someone wants to purchase a signed copy, can they do that, or is that not allowed?
That's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
That's totally
Thank
fine.
you.
Yeah.
Okay,
No problem. Yep. Yeah. That's completely fine. I think David, you also had that question. Yeah, we want this to be, an opportunity to amplify whatever work that you're doing, especially if it's related to Jane's Walk in the spirit of MAS. This obviously isn't a promotional festival, but if it relates to your work, completely okay to talk about any work that you've done, books, and you can bring them as well. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go through some of these questions that are in the chat. Otherwise, feel free to raise your hand or unmute. Let's see. Okay. Nick, I know, based on previous experiences, how long do you suggest is a good amount of time to stop for each walk stop? Yeah. I guess it really depends on how much you want to be talking about the stop, but I think I feel like 5 minutes is kind of average, 5 to 7 minutes. I know I love those numbers, 5 to 7. But also if you want to be there longer and have some conversation or ask any questions to spur conversation, it can be longer than that. It can be 10 minutes for sure. But yeah, I think not a super quick, but I feel like 5 to 7 is an average amount of time. But yeah, Madeline, yes, yeah. Festival is rain or shine. And then Madeline, I know it is going to be scheduled. I just have to add it to the website, but thank you for that note. Okay, and then Ruth, great, I will reply to your email. Nina, that's a really good question. So walk attendees can sign up for walks as late as right before it happens. So registration doesn't technically close. And yeah, we do that just so people can, you know, sign up at the last minute if they want to. One other note about that, if your walk sells out, we will open a wait list, and the wait list, if it gets like too big, then we'll close the wait list and we'll take off the registration link from your event page. But the wait list is helpful because people will often, you know, if they can't make your walk, they'll let us know and they'll cancel. Feel like our community is really good at like letting us know if they can't attend something. So if that's the case, we'll move someone from the wait list to the registration list. Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Feel free to unmute if you'd like. Oh, yeah, Suen, yes, I can email the link to the Slack group. It hasn't been super active in recent years, but I still like that we have it as a space for people to ask questions. Yes, Bryce, awesome.
There's a question from Emily I was curious about as well, whether you recommend using any sort of amp. I think my walk's in a pretty noisy place, so
Yeah.
I was curious about that.
Great question, and thank you, Emily. Yeah, really up to you. We unfortunately don't have any amplifiers or you know, resources for that, but many walk leaders get them and use them. I know there's like a really affordable one that people like that's like $30. If anyone has that, feel free to put info in the chat. I forget what it's called. But if you are worried about projecting or about it being a busy area, you can definitely have one, but it's not like required at all. We find that if you just you know, speak up and also think about like where you're stopping, people usually are able to hear you. But if you want to use one, totally okay. Yeah. All right. All right, any other questions? These are great questions. And also, if any other questions come up later, you can email us. I'm putting the email in the chat. And we get a lot of emails, but I try to reply as soon as I can, along with my coworker Jen. But yeah, if any questions come up between now and the festival, you can definitely email us or give us a phone call and we can chat. Yeah. Cool. Okay, well, if there's no other questions right now, feel free to unmute or raise your hand if you do have one. But if there aren't any other ones, like I said, this is being recorded, so I'll have a recording of this available for everyone soon. And of course, yes, we really appreciate everyone who leads a walk. I know that you're, you know, you don't get paid to do this, but you put all your time and knowledge and expertise and passion into leading these walks. And I love this festival, and it is like the most heartwarming, amazing weekend ever. And I know that everyone here is going to probably meet someone that also is really passionate about their walk topic, or maybe someone who previously knew nothing about the topic but really felt like, you know, transformed after going on your walk. So it's really special, and we really appreciate all the time that everyone puts into planning their walk. So thank you. Yeah.
Thanks, Genevieve.
Yeah,
Good night.
of course. All right, take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.